Good evening, JCI USA. MVP Ross here with our third episode of Leadership Live. Happy Thursday. Happy the short week from Labor Day this week. It's been a great week. Obviously, we're in September now, which means that we're going closer to the end of the third quarter. Lots going on. We have the National Convention coming up. Our annual meeting in Corpus Christi is just 3 weeks away, actually 3 weeks from today. So we have a lot going on with that. We had Program Manager Vanessa on a few weeks ago to talk about the happenings with our annual meeting. If you have any questions about that, be sure to look on the event page on our Facebook. Registration is still open for that, and we are bound to have a great time down there. We also have a lot to talk about as far as travel and connections go tonight. So we have National Program Officers Miranda Williams. She's our Shoot for Success Program Manager. She's going to be on with us tonight to talk about some connections and how she's made friends throughout JCI. And then we also have Margot Dirksen, who's on our anti-bullying campaign. She's going to be on to talk about her connections as well. Speaking of travel, I think we have one of our fellow MVPs at the airport right now. So I want to connect with MVP Heather, who I believe is in Chicago, to see what she's up to this weekend. So let's see if we can connect with Heather. I think it's working. Gotta love technology. Hey, MVP Heather. How's it going?
Hi, it's going good. Just hanging out in the Chicago airport. Picked a good day to travel to Chicago.
Yeah?
I am heading to Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh, go
and
Packers.
Have a layover in Chicago when they're playing the Bears.
Nice. You've got a good game to watch.
Football. It's in the background, actually.
There we go.
So, yeah, it's kind of nice that it's in on the TVs in the airport.
Nice.
So, yeah,
so
I have a little short layover, but just enough amount of time so I wouldn't miss.
Yeah. So tell me about National Vice President. We've traveled a lot this year, right?
We have traveled a lot, and you know what I've learned? I've learned how to pack a carry-on. Mastered that plan. Yeah.
Nice.
Carry on for the weekend. Some might say I'm not really good at it still, but I'm still mastering it. We won't ask Membership Development Director Emily. She'll probably say I'm still not really good at the packing part. But
Emily's watching right now. With all the travel that's going on, tell me about some of the best things that you've experienced as your year as MVP and traveling to the different states.
Well, definitely the connections. I had a really, really, really hard travel because, as we know, we're not necessarily always on our own account when we're waiting on airlines. It actually took me a long time to get to the state of Montana and many different flight changes. But thanks to my fellow executive team, it took a lot of y'all's help, but they helped me get on different flights. Actually, Rhonda Anderson got on the hold and three-way called and helped me get on another flight to make sure that I got to Montana in a timely manner because all my flights had been grounded. So it's very important that we work together, and that kind of showed our teamwork as well. But it was important that I got to Montana in that timely manner, because if I would have stayed the way that they were wanting me to do, I would have not made it to Montana at all. It would have been a waste of time. I would have been stuck in Denver. I'm not saying there's nothing to do in Denver, but my point was to get to Montana. So I was very thankful that the whole team helped me get to my flights, because I'm not always good when I get in flustered situations. So I was very appreciative of that situation. But definitely the relationships that we are building, and I think that y'all will talk about that maybe later on in the conversation, but we're meeting different members that might not necessarily get to come to a national meeting. And I'm going to see people in the Wisconsin area that I haven't been able to meet yet, that haven't come to a national meeting, and help them out. I've been able to reach out to some of their members already and find out what they need. I'm going to be there for about 4 days, so I'm going to actually go to some of their chapter events, and then I'm going to go to a state function with them. And then I'll have a trivia night. So we'll have some work, and then we'll have some play at night as well. So I'm kind of excited about that. I like the work part, and then after we work, we're going to get rewarded, and we're going to have a trivia night on Saturday night as well. So
on your travels, have you ever met other JCs at the airport? Like, have you've seen other JCs?
I have never done that, except on the way home from a national meeting. I have seen other JCs in the airport as I was leaving home, but other than that, I haven't. It's kind of sad. I'm always waiting around the corner. Surprisingly, I always usually travel with a JCI shirt on, and I did not today because I did not, but I do have my JCI book bag.
There we go.
So I always have something JCI on, and it's a good conversation starter too, especially if you have a shirt, a book bag, a jacket. If you have those things, it's people always want to know what's all that stuff about, or if you wear your polo. So I always encourage any of your members to wear your JC swag on the plane. Definitely on the way home from Montana with my Montana hat, I definitely had a lot of questions people wanted to know. So those are great conversation starters too. And you never know who's going to be sitting on you in the plane, and it could be a future prospect member, because remember, they could be flying home to your hometown. So that's
true. So I did meet, this was kind of sporadic. This was, I think, in January or February on my travels. I met IPP Noel at the Dallas airport. I think we were both traveling from different events, but it was really random that we saw each other at the airport. But outside of that, I haven't seen anybody other than flying with different members for travel and connecting flights. But it's definitely a fun experience. So JCI Wisconsin is watching, Heather. They are looking forward to picking you up from the airport.
They are coming later on to pick me up from the airport in Green Bay, so we're excited. So we're all pulling for Green Bay Packers today. No Bears.
You've got the Packers green on, so you're in good shape.
I do have Packers green on. I didn't even think about that. Of course I do. Yes, I do have Packers green on. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I usually try to just have a small layover before my connection flight, because you never know what gate you're going to go to.
For sure.
I mean, I can't even tell you my favorite airline anymore, because the one that I think is my favorite, they always tell me different. I've had a good experience with a lot of them, and I've had a bad experience with a lot of them. I'll have to, if anybody wants to hear my good Southwest story, MVP Ross can tell you offline.
Sure.
He'll tell you my Southwest story. But Southwest is good because they have free bags. But I'm starting to kind of like United now. So
there we go.
I'm still a Delta girl though, through and through. But United's growing on me. They really are growing on me. So
awesome. Well, safe travels, MVP Heather.
Thank you so
glad
much.
We got to connect. Have fun in Wisconsin this weekend.
I will, and I look forward to seeing all my fellow JC friends in Texas.
Yeah, a few weeks away.
Safe travels to all of them traveling to Texas. So we'll see y'all soon, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Heather.
Bye.
I see IPP Noel just jumped on. I was telling the story how we met in the airport just a few months ago, kind of randomly from two events. So it's always cool to see fellow JCs there. So our next guest is going to be Miranda, our Shoot for Success program manager. So I'm going to connect with Miranda, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some travel and the benefits of meeting fellow members. Hey, Miranda.
Did it work?
It did. Hey. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going very good.
So tell me about some experiences that you've had traveling as a JC member and the connections that you make.
I actually did run into Jay Johnson and his beautiful wife in, I believe we had a layover in Nashville. I think it was Nashville Airport. So I ran into them there, and we flew the same plane to Myrtle Beach. I think it was Myrtle Beach too. I was trying to think, but it had to have been Myrtle Beach, because I don't know why they would have been flying south to go anywhere else we went.
So lots of cool connections there. You're traveling now, right?
I am traveling as well. I will be going to join Michigan's conference this weekend, so I'm super excited about that. They've invited me to do a couple of trainings with MDD Emily, and to judge their competitions and to do one of their keynotes, I guess, or they call it JCI Talks, but it's like a TEDx.
Okay.
It's pretty neat.
So how did you connect with that? As a member of Mississippi, how do you get the connections way up here in the Midwest in Michigan?
It is really strange that they would invite little old Mississippi, but it just goes to show that no matter how small or large your state is, you can still be relevant within the JCs. We actually did a call last night. Jay did one for him running for his DNP position, and they had one of the other states had questioned, how do you feel relevant? And it just really brought me back because for a long time, Mississippi was one of those states that I was like, hey, look, we're still here. We're still here. We're growing and we're still hanging on, but we're
For
still
sure.
here. And so it is kind of nice to be picked up. And it is just the connections you make. President Steve at LTU, we just hit it off real well. And I joined one of their JCI groups, it's JCI Michigan, and they were talking about it. And they did a health and fitness group as well this year. And so I joined that, and the connections there, it was just a lot of inspiration from so many of the JCs, and they were talking about their upcoming convention. And I was like, oh, y'all almost make me want to come. And then they did open the invitation. And so I was like, I can't miss this because their conventions on Facebook look amazing. So
Right.
I'm super excited to attend one.
Well, what a cool experience. And that's not just in Michigan. I know you've traveled to Maryland and stuff like that too, right?
Yes, I traveled to Maryland earlier in the year to spend time with Emily. And last year, now President Tricia, but last year she invited me up to Illinois and we did a weekend region run. And that was one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had. I think we visited like 8 or 9 chapters in one day, and
That's
it was
awesome.
all of these events that were just so much fun. It was an absolute exhausting weekend because I'm not used to doing 8 events. One event is enough for me, but it's been one of my favorite experiences of all of my JC career so far.
Yeah, so that's definitely a cool experience. And I know coming from a smaller state, obviously Indiana is kind of the same way. We have a few chapters within the state, but being able to travel to a larger state and you're able to see that impact from chapter to chapter is always meaningful, and it always kind of recharges your JC battery. And I'm sure on
Yes.
your travels as you go, conventions, anywhere basically that you go as a JC, when you leave, I feel like you're always empowered and motivated, and it recharges that battery to go back to your state and do great things.
Yeah, it definitely is an inspiration. And you just come back from any national meeting or a regional meeting, even with our institute, you just come back so inspired because it is hard to fight the community in a sense. You're fighting all of the other nonprofits, all the other
Right.
civic groups, and it gets hard, it gets exhausting. And when you go there and you've got 50, 60, 100, 200 people with all the same goal and same mission as you have, it's just super empowering, and you just come home on fire, ready to save the world.
So with those travels that you've gone to, have you gotten any ideas or things that you brought back to your state to help Mississippi?
Actually, yes. When I, it was, I think, our first convention in Maryland, Emily, Neil, and Katie and I, at the end of the night, we had formed this little best friend state. And at the end of the night, we were all like laying in our beds just talking about, well, what does your chapter do? What does this chapter do? And it really brought, they had a Christmas for kids type event. And I was telling them what we did was shop with a cop, which is something that's work and not JC's, but utilizing the active citizen framework, it was making me realize that what we were doing was really no different than any other organization. We weren't fixing the problem, we were just putting a band-aid on it. So we all kind of brainstormed, and they took back ideas and we took back ideas. And we now my personal work career has skyrocketed because of the Shop with a Cop program, all stemming from that one night laying in bed, everybody just brainstorming and talking about what our chapters have done. And those are the best times to get ideas.
So being able to collaborate and generate those ideas, I know the best ideas seem to come at the most random time, and a lot of times they are with your friends from different states. And you have these epiphanies like Leadership Live. That was another epiphany that happened on a spur of the moment, but it's definitely a great thing, and it's always fun to see them kind of come to fruition. And you have a cheerleading section waiting for you,
Yes.
basically. So when it happens, you've got that group of people not only in your home state, but nationwide, internationally, being able to cheer you on and see that event and make it successful.
Yep.
So Texas is coming up in a few weeks. Are you ready for that?
As ready as I'll ever be. It's going to be an exciting weekend. I'm really excited to see my friends, and I will be running with several of my friends. They're all my friends, but they're my closer friends too. So I'm super excited about seeing everybody and seeing the ideas for 2020 come too and everything.
Sure.
So
So there's a lot of projects I think that are going to be showcased. That's one of the special things in Texas. So maybe we can take some of those ideas back. As you're traveling and your experiences, Miranda, what are some of the favorite things that you've seen from chapters and those experiences that you've gotten out of those? What are some takeaways from that?
So when we did the kindness rally last convention, I think it was in
Mm-hmm.
Denver, that was really amazing. We only got to participate in half of it because I was doing one of the trainings prior to, or I was leading one of the trainings prior to. But that was just seeing everybody working together, and a lot of the participants weren't even from the same state, so different states were collaborating. Just seeing everybody working together on a national level was amazing.
Yeah, it's a great experience. And that actually came from Michigan, right?
It did, and I've
Yeah,
seen them
so
gearing up for that. September 21st is National Kindness Rally Day, I think.
that's coming up. I know Anna from Michigan is watching right now. So if you want more information on that, she'll provide that information. And possibly if you want to do it in your state or your chapter, she'll connect you with the person for that.
Yeah.
So what else? What kind of connections outside of, as a member of JC's, how has this helped you grow as a person outside of the organization, being able to
Outside of the
travel?
organization, being able to travel is definitely one. I've always, my we zip lined when we were in Las Vegas. I've always been scared to do so much, and now here I am stepping up on a stage and running for a leadership position with JCI USA. It's made me start thinking about my future and my possible career and everything else. So it definitely does bring a world of opportunities that you would have never thought existed before.
Yeah, so it's a lot of great experiences that you don't realize you have until you're kind of knee deep in them, which is a great thing. So lots
Yeah.
of good stuff there. Have fun in Michigan, Miranda. Safe travels.
Well,
And we'll
thank
see
you.
you in Texas in a few weeks.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Have a good night, Miranda.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye. All right, so next we have Margot. Let's see if we can find Margot on here. I know Margot's watching. I can see her on there. Technology is not cooperating this night or tonight, unfortunately. Let's see. Try one more thing here. Looks like I can't get connected to Margot tonight. So what we can do, Margot, I know you're watching, and I'm sorry I can't get you on here. We can connect either next week or on another episode of Leader Live, if that's okay. It looks like it's not connecting. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't get you connected, Margot. So tonight, like I said, we talked about some travel. We've got Corpus Christi happening in just a few weeks. Registration is open. We've got some sponsorship packages for the 100th anniversary celebration that got posted on social media today. If you have any questions on that, you can contact Program Manager Jen Ray, past President Jen. We'll have her on Leadership Live hopefully here in a couple weeks too to give some more information on that. Like I said, we'll get Margot on here in the next week or so too. Not sure really what's going on with the live stream here. But yeah, lots of information. If you have any questions about convention, reach out to any of the national officers and national vice presidents. It's a great experience. If you haven't been, we're going to showcase a lot of projects. The agenda is great, lots of trainings. Obviously, the election of our 2020 officers. So hopefully we'll see you in Texas, and we'll see you next week on Leadership Live. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about tonight, feel free to reach out to me. Or if you want to be a guest on Leadership Live, it's a great time. Lots of great experience with that as well. So have a great night, everybody. Have a great weekend. To those of you that are traveling this weekend to states, safe travels, and have a great JC weekend. We'll see you next week.